Hello everyone, so I've been playing around with a 10-turn build as pretty much most other content creators. It does seem like a lot of content creators decide to speed run to suspicious locations just to try and find the start positions of all the other characters. Now I don't imagine that Creative Assembly intended for that to happen within 10 turns, but you know, everyone's dropping the same content at the same time, so people have to get creative. So I found Thanquol because I had some weird map bug, and yeah, you know, he starts in the Blackwater. This is pretty interesting. Mostly because it's going to be a pretty hectic campaign. I mean, you're starting off right there in Suthbar, which means that you're going to be surrounded by dwarf characters like Forgrim and Ungrim, and then you're going to have to deal with Vlad too. And also it's nice that Creative Assembly decided to give a little tribute to the rat poster because, you know, he's been doing so much lately. It's wild. So many posts. It's impressive. But now we can talk about all the start positions, which I think is going to be kind of cool. There are some surprises. There are some kind of expected, obviously. And then one which just totally threw me off. Now, remember that this is obviously a pre-release, so things could be subject to change before like the full embargoes. This is like a weird section where we've never really done a 10-turn thing, barring like a launch for a game. So things could change. We'll use the Immortal Empire's map as a representation because we don't have access to the full-on map just yet. It's already really stacked, as you can imagine, with the icons of Tides of Torment and Beshiver in there, so let's start adding in the rest. So Boris, as you can imagine, starts off in Middenheim and also has access to Karaberg. This is the 10-turn build, so yeah, it's a pretty good start. You'll be fighting against some Skaven, Festus, some Beastmen, and the rest, and just kind of expanding from there. In fact, you can expand quite heavily, and I'd say faster than Karl Franz, due to the fact that the enemies are actually a little bit closer to you. The Glottkin will be starting in Noska as expected, interestingly enough, a little bit further up, so where the Varg tribe are. I was expecting them in the Icetooth Mountains because they are supposed to be from the Sea of Claws, but I guess moving them away makes a lot of sense just to add for a little bit more breathing room to, well, everyone in that area. I mean, still not a lot. And in my opinion, it's a little bit close to Epidemius, but yeah, I mean, this is what happens with big DLCs. You know, there's 5 legendary lords coming in. The congestion is going to get pretty damn bad, especially around the areas of the Warhammer 1 zone. Either way, while not its original start position lore-wise, it's still pretty good and it still gives you the incentive to go down to the Empire, because I imagine lore-wise they're going to want to follow the character's lore from the novella and they want to, well, get revenge on the Empire. Thanquol is starting in the Blackwater, which is going to be interesting. As I've said before, you're going to be surrounded by Forgrim and Ungrim. They're likely going to turn their attentions to you as soon as possible. Remember that usually you get Ungrim going down into the Blackwater anyway. Vlad seems to be a little bit more active now since they've got the vampire count rework there. So I'm kind of curious to see what happens there. Maybe you can use him as an ally, maybe not. Obviously, the Skaven have a lot more powerful toys now, so getting up to the Blackwater fully, getting Suthbar and leveling that up as much as you can, because he doesn't start in Suthbar, might get you access to like the Storm Fiends very, very quickly, and that way you can actually build your way into a more destructive point. I feel like Storm Fiends are going to be very useful here. Either way, strange start. I was expecting something a little bit different. Honestly, I was expecting maybe a little closer to Scarbrand for like the fun factor, but they're going with something more like Skaven Slayer here. Neferata will begin in the Silver Pinnacle, which, I mean, yeah, everyone kind of expected. Lots of congestion at the Old World now. Now, I mean, look, it was always bad, but there are 3 new legendary lords, and essentially a 4th is going to be incentivized to come down, right? I'm hoping the vampire count rework here is quite good because player bias could kick in. We do have some factors which are going to reduce player bias if the player wants it, but you are surrounded by, well, you know, orcs. They normally push into the Empire, but they could be incentivized to come back. Ungrim is going to be a problem, that's for sure. And then, yeah, there is everything in the Darklands and the Mountains of Morn. You've got very powerful Chaos Dwarfs over there, and of course Grimgor, which could be problematic. On the plus side, it does look like a very diverse start position because it means that you're going to be fighting loads of different factions, whereas it's going to be the same with Boris as always. Thanquol's basically going to be the same. You know, those areas we've been used to, especially with a lot of modded campaigns. And the Glottkin seems a bit weird. Again, I'm gonna save any criticisms until I play it, because it might actually be like a really cool campaign, especially as we know of different mechanics when it comes to, the Gardens of Nurgle and the rest. Alright, so the last one is Nagash, and this one is probably the most surprising because he starts at the Great Mortis Delta, so right on the Black Pyramid, which is weird. I guess we're skipping ahead a little bit in the story, so he's up and running. Well, there's only so much that you can do, right, when it comes to this type of thing. I personally would have preferred him to start in Nagash's kind of like reforming and going down. Kind of similar to that of the mod, which I'm not saying that they should copy the mod. It's more the case of like, it just makes a lot of sense there. What happens here is you're already up and running. You've got your potential first enemies with a lot of anti-undead bias, and I'm assuming Cetra hates you too. So you're going to be fighting Cetra likely within the first few turns. This is going to be kind of interesting to see how this plans out. It's definitely a choice. We're going to have to wait and see, right? I don't agree with it, but I haven't been able to play with Nagash. We've only got the 10 turns. Maybe the campaign is a lot more centered around the Black Pyramid than, say, for example, the mod was. And it does make sense, lore-wise, it's a big thing. The Skaven keep trying to destroy it for very obvious reasons. Either way, like, this is a pretty interesting start position. And, like, we've got so much. It's all centered around, like, the start of the game, essentially, right? It's centered mostly around Warhammer 1. Who knows, maybe Nagash has a push to go back into the Empire. Well, he would, wouldn't he? Like, lore-wise, he takes over Sylvania for a while. There's that whole, like, undeath barrier and stuff. There's a lot of barriers for some reason during the End Times period. But, yeah, I mean, this looks pretty interesting. It's very congested. There's no map expansions as far as I'm aware, and I know a lot of content creators were skirting through trying to find some areas. From what I can tell, there is a slight map change when it comes to like the Varg areas, which is just like renaming stuff and repositioning stuff a little bit, but that's pretty much it. I know a lot of people did expect that we were going to get like a map expansion, but it kind of makes sense that they didn't. Mostly because they were going to focus on all the other stuff. Devastation coming in. We know that there's like undeath devastation and the rest. There's supposed to be loads of other changes. I guess they wanted to focus on that rather than expanding the map. And really, expanding the map here with the characters in question wasn't really going to change anything. The Glottkin should have always been somewhere in Norska. Boris should have been in Mindenheim. So yeah, like this is all really expected, barring Nagash. And even then, putting Nagash, I guess, in Nagash's is still going to be congested anyway. There's no other places that they can really add in. Honestly, I'm really excited for this. Hopefully it won't be too long until like the other embargoes start kicking in, because I really want to see all the lords. The Glottkin's probably the one that I'm most interested in. I'm a very, very big Chaos Warrior fan, and it's hoping that they're gonna like fix up some stuff with the other Chaos Warriors rather than just the Archeon rework and the rest. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below to start a bit of a discussion. There's going to be a few videos for the next coming few days, it seems. I do have quite a lot of ideas, which is nice. It feels good to kind of feel back. Have a good one, guys. I'll see you all again, probably later today. Bye.